see here. Oh, looks like yeah, looks like it's working now. My signal's a little bit bad. My Wi-Fi is not. I'm actually in a hotel, guys, so I'm using hotel Wi-Fi. So, the Wi-Fi here is not the best. Obviously, there's a lot of people sharing the network, so um, so I'm just gonna get right into it. I'll say hello to everybody quickly. Um, Off-grid desert farming, I see you're in here. I hope you're doing well. Um, um, I'm at a hotel right now. Hotel. I'll be back home in the studio tomorrow. Smoking Swamp Outdoors, how's it going? Joe Romanino, great to see you, Joe. Hope you're doing well. Kin Koi, KL, what's going on, KL? So thank you guys for being so patient with me. It's just the worst possible timing for all of this to kick off when I have to go out of town. So thanks for being patient with the quality. Like last night, I was literally streaming from inside of a car. Okay, I was in the passenger seat of a car and I was using my cell phone hotspot, which I have on my phone. I only get 4G. I only get 4G, and then I was driving through northern PA, which is very rural. So thank you guys for being patient with me. Um, but I just put up an update like 2 hours ago. I uploaded an update. So if you want to be caught up with the latest news, then check out my last update, which was 2 hours ago. I posted it 2 hours ago. It's about 20 minutes long. I just summarized everything from the last 24 hours. One thing I want to mention is YouTube is definitely starting to crack down on Israel related content. One of my videos just got deleted again today, and I noticed like since Wednesday, they've been kind of suppressing a lot of my videos. Like my views on the updates that I've been doing dropped by like 50% suddenly on Wednesday. It was like they hit a switch. And now it makes sense why they did that because the invasion started Friday. And so I think what they were doing is they were trying to, um, I think in a way they were trying to protect maybe the Israeli forces so that information's not leaked out that could be damaging to the operation. Um, but anybody out there that's making videos on this topic, just be very, very careful. I know off-grid desert farming just got a strike because of some video he did. I don't know if that was Israel related or not, but off-grid desert farming got a strike. So any of you guys that watch him, if he hasn't been posting, it's probably because of that. And he does have a Rumble channel, just so you guys are aware. Operator 357 says, I like how you added the time clock. I'm glad you like it. And if you notice at the top, I have a ticker that I set up. So that ticker, I'm going to continuously update it with the latest information. So you can just hop on my stream and you can watch that ticker go across and you'll have all the latest information. Okay. So that's what I'm going to try to do. But I hope everybody's having a good weekend. And I also want to mention another buddy, Duramax. I don't know if any of you guys know the Duramax channel. check him out. He's working really hard to provide 24/7 coverage. He has flight trackers. He has EAMs going. He's got any kind of just stuff. Let me just pull his channel up on the screen here. He's a really good guy. He's helped me out a lot. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to shut my camera off because it's causing some lag. And I don't think you really need to stare at me for an hour straight anyway. So I'm going to shut the camera off. Just wanted to show my face, let you guys know I'm doing okay. Everything's fine. Um, I want to just share my screen here. Um, One moment. So the latest update, like I said, I put it up 2 hours ago. It's in my videos section. Okay, so if you wanna check that out, I highly recommend you check it out. Let's see. Just gonna share my screen real quick. See if I can go to your channel here. Let's see if that's gonna work. Okay, there we go. So this is Duramax, buddy of mine. He's got really good coverage of what's going on. Live cameras. He's got aircraft tracking, and he's got the EAMs up, and he just does that 24/7. So it's a cool place to go and hang out, talk to people. It's a laid back atmosphere. He doesn't really talk a lot on it. It's just like raw information. So check him out. Tell him I sent you. Tell him I sent you. Um, Teresa, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. I hope you're having a great weekend. Michael Schmidt, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. And Son of Herney, looks like you're from the UK. Thanks for the donation. Um, so it looks like, you know, uh, Off-Grid Desert Farming says, thanks, Greg, for the shout out. Yes, I have people that hate me on my channel that flag everything I do. This is why I cannot do news anymore. Yeah, it's unfortunate, that there's really some people out there they're just full of hate, in their heart. I just don't get it, It's even if you disagree with someone, it's like just who cares. You're not going to agree with everybody. It's just so stupid, but that's unfortunately the way people are these days. So let me just share some stuff with you guys here. So the worst case scenario has happened. This is basically, without trying to sound like negative, I'm not trying to sound like doom and gloom or whatever, but this is the worst case scenario, guys. I mean, you know, this could be everything that we've been prepping for. I started prepping in 2008 after the financial collapse. Um, so 15 years is how long I've been prepping, and I haven't always been like hardcore prepping, but when I first started, I did it just a little bit, more focused on like bugging out and bug out bags and stuff. And then later, last couple of years is when I really started getting more into it. But this could be the event that we've all been prepping for. There is a real potential that this could escalate to World War III. Okay, and I'm not trying to sound like a fearmonger or anything. I'm just sharing the reality of the situation. And I support Israel. Okay, I want Israel to win. I guess you could say if that's the right word. I support Israel 100%. But there is a very real chance this could escalate into something really serious. So, um, we have to make sure that, we're preparing as best as we can. And I mean, obviously, there's only so much you can do. You can't go crazy and lose sleep over it. Um, but just try to do whatever you can, to prepare, because I think things are going to get really serious very soon. And um, you know, there's just such very very harsh rhetoric and words coming from some of these countries like Iran and even now Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is condemning the invasion. They're saying that they're asking the international community to immediately uh, intervene and stop Israel's ground invasion. This is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a U.S. ally. They have all of our equipment there, where they have our Patriot missiles. I mean, we protect all their oil fields for them with our Patriot missiles. Turkey. I mean, just check my last update. I read off what the Turkish president said. I mean, some of the things he said were just insane. He says that he wants Israel to be considered a war criminal, that Turkey's going to consider Israel a war criminal. He was blaming the West, saying that the whole thing was because of the West. And I mean, this is a NATO country, and they have dozens of nuclear weapons. I think there's at least 60 B-61 gravity nuclear bombs in Turkey. Okay, so all the countries in the Middle East are turning on Israel, and it's all like in the Bible. It's like, I hate to, get all end times on you guys again, but it's almost like lockstep with what the Bible says. Iran, Turkey, all those Middle Eastern countries turn on Israel. They're all of them are aligning against Israel. Turkey, Iran, Saudi Arabia, even Jordan. Egypt. Egypt hasn't really been like super anti-Israel, but they're all turning on Israel now. It's really sad. Um, it's very very sad. And what's even more sad are all these people here in the U.S. that are like protesting, and they have no idea what they're even protesting about. They don't even know. I mean, it's like they forgot that 1,300 Israelis were very brutally killed. Uh, you know, what, 2 weeks ago, 20 days ago, 21 days ago, actually. It's actually, what is that? No, not 21 days ago. What am I saying? 14 days? Yeah, 14 days ago. So 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't know. I'm a little bit tired. My brain is not functioning to full capacity. But it's like nobody cares about that. I mean, if you read the stories about what Hamas did, I can't say what they did on here because my video would probably get flagged or something. But just read about it. I mean, we're talking about stuff that's like ISIS level brutality. Just horrible stuff. And everybody's, oh, Israel's a big bully. They're invading, but they're not. First of all, they're giving the people there every opportunity to leave. They've been giving them, days and days to get out of Gaza. And Gaza's not big. It's only like a few miles long. You could literally walk across Gaza. And Israel's been giving them days, much more than they had to. Okay, if they really wanted to, they could have just started their campaign like 2 days after. But they've given them weeks, 2, 3 weeks to, get them to get out of there. 3 weeks. Okay, they've given them 3 weeks. It's like 5 miles across. Okay, so it's a little bit ridiculous. Um, but unfortunately, it's not going to get any better. The Bible says that this anti-Israeli, anti-Jewish, anti-Christian sentiment is just going to get worse and worse as we go deeper and deeper into the end times. Okay, I'm not a pastor. I'm not an end times, eschatologist or anything. I know the Bible good enough. I know the main points to tell you that it's just going to get worse and worse as time goes on. And we're seeing it right now. The anti-Jewish sentiment, the anti-Israel sentiment, the anti-Christian sentiment, it's getting worse and worse. Um, it's really shocking how people are just condemning Israel without even knowing what's going on, or it's just that's what the Bible says would happen. In the end times, everyone's the Bible says that everyone's going to go against God's people. God's people are going to be persecuted, and it's happening right now. And the brutality of this attack on the Jewish people. I mean, we haven't seen anything like this since World War II. I'm telling you, just read it. Google search it. What happened there. It's awful. It's like unimaginable how somebody could even think of doing something like that. I wouldn't even do those things to my worst enemy, you know? And these were just innocent civilians they did that to. They weren't combatants, they weren't, anything. So, it's the Bible says that's what's going to happen. So, it's scary times we're living in, guys. Covert Prepper, how's it going? Thank you for the donation. Cool name, Covert Prepper. I like that. Love the work here, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Michael Schmidt, thank you for the donation. So, I'm sorry to get so heavy and serious on a Saturday night. But one thing I will say is try to enjoy God's blessings while we can. SHTF is going to happen. The end is going to happen. All these bad things are going to happen. So we might as well just enjoy our lives and enjoy God's blessings while we have them before it's all gone. Before all hell breaks loose and all this bad stuff happens. So, try to enjoy your life. Don't stress too much. Don't lose sleep over it. What's going to happen is going to happen, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing I can do. And, just try to look for the positive things and, make sure that you're, you know, um, make sure that, you're hugging your family members and remember who's important in your life, because we just don't know what could happen tomorrow. So, family is very important, and you guys are all like my second family. So I wish I could give you guys hugs, but unfortunately I can't. Virtual hug. Um, so what you're looking at on the screen here is just a ton of U.S. transport planes. These are C-17 Globemasters. I mean, just look at this. This is insane. I've never seen anything like this. I don't even know what to say about this. Look, this is in a 24-hour period, guys. 24 hours, all these military cargo planes. This makes Ukraine look like child's play, okay? I mean, this is just unheard of. You see this list on the right side here? This is like 5 or 6 dozen C-17s in a 24-hour period. Look at that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So the U.S. is preparing for a worst case scenario. They're bringing in dozens and dozens of these C-17s. Each one of those C-17s can haul like thousands of pounds of cargo. I forget the exact number, but they can fit an entire M1 Abrams tank in one of those C-17s. It's not the biggest transport plane that the U.S. has. The C-5 is the biggest one, but the C-17, a C-17, if I'm not mistaken, it can fit an M1 Abrams. It can fit a Patriot launcher, and I think it could fit like 2 or 3 Bradleys. But they don't use it. They don't use it that much for transporting that kind of stuff. They usually transport like ammunition, missiles, troops. Um, it's like a medium-sized airlift plane. Then the C-130s here too, C-130s, C-5s. But this is just ridiculous. I mean, I have no words for this. This is insane. So, so yeah, the war has started in Israel. It's official, and hopefully, uh, hopefully things don't get too bad, but it doesn't look good right now. It looks like Iran is going to get involved, possibly Hezbollah. It looks like it's just a matter of time. It's not if, but when, basically. So, you know, if you have any last minute preps you need to do or any last minute prep items, I would do that, Android Typho, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Greg, for your commitment to us. No problem, Android. Thank you for that donation. I really appreciate that. And the C-30s, I'm not an expert on transport planes. So I'd have to look that up. C-17 payload is 170,000 pounds. That sounds about right. Yeah, so that's like an M1 Abrams. M1 Abrams are like what are they, like 70 tons? Rachel Larson, how's it going? Let me see what else here do I have. So the British aircraft carrier entered into the Mediterranean already. So we're now going to have 3 NATO aircraft carriers confirmed, and that's official confirmed aircraft carriers. Not anything like secret. Um, so 3 aircraft carriers in the Middle East. I mean, it's a lot. That's Here's the HMS Queen Elizabeth entering through the Straits of Gibraltar. Okay. So 3 aircraft carriers are going to be in the region. They're going to open up a can of what, whoop ass. They're going to open up a can of whoop ass on Hamas and Hezbollah and anybody that tries to go after Israel. Um, so C-130H has a max payload of 42,000 pounds. That's it. Wow, I thought it would be like at least like 100,000 or 70,000. Interesting. Kim Jong-un said to be prepared for World War III. Yes, he did. Also, Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, said that World War III may start in the Middle East. So this could be Ezekiel 38 and 39, guys. This really could be Ezekiel 38 and 39. It really feels like it. And we have some breaking news that Matthew Perry from Friends passed away today, I guess it was, only 54 years old. So, in case you guys missed my update from 2 hours ago, I'll just read off some of the main headlines. So, Turkish President Erdogan said that Turkey is ready to declare Israel as a war criminal. We will declare Israel a war criminal. We are already working on this. At a massive pro-Palestinian rally in Istanbul, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said, I reiterate that Hamas is not a terrorist organization. Israel was very offended by this. Israel is an occupier. The main culprit behind the massacre unfolding in Gaza is the West. Okay, so he's calling Israel an occupier. He's saying Hamas is not a terrorist group and that the massacre is because of the West. How is Hamas not a terrorist group? I don't understand the logic there. There is no logic. It's pure ideology. There's no logic there. He's lost touch with reality and he's purely going off of ideology. Um, and so the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said yesterday evening additional ground troops entered Gaza and the second phase of the war began. The goal is to destroy the military and government potential of Hamas and return the hostages. If Israel does not win, the countries of the world will have their turn. So that's basically what Netanyahu said. The Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said this is not going to be a short war. This is going to be a long war. A small part of our Air Force is operating in Gaza and is ready to respond on the northern front. We have no interest in expanding the war, but we are ready. We have passed a stage in the war. The ground in Gaza shook. The operation will continue until further notice. All right, so um, strong words there. And utilities have been completely cut in northern Gaza. There's no utilities there, no power, no internet. Let's see what else. The second U.S. aircraft carrier strike group arrived in the Mediterranean Sea, um, and it's actually going to be going to the Persian Gulf. It's not going to go to the Eastern Mediterranean. It's going to go through the Suez Canal, and it's going to go down through the Red Sea and around the Arabian Peninsula, and then it's going to be positioned right off the coast of Iran. So that's very suspicious. Okay, um, very suspicious. And U.S. Navy Expeditionary Mobile Base, the USS Herschel Woody Williams, which is ideal for special operations, passed through the Strait of Gibraltar today on a course for the island of Crete. All right, so U.S. Special Ops are definitely active right now in the region. Delta Force, Navy SEALs, probably Army Rangers, um, MARSOC maybe, you know, I mean, just all the tier one units are definitely operating there. There, I have no doubt about that. Trying to get those hostages free. Um, the Iranian foreign minister held emergency talks with the UN Secretary General last night. He made more threats. He said that the button has been pressed. It seems that the conflict in the Middle East has reached the point of no return. If Israel's crimes continue, the war will expand and new fronts will open in the region. Okay? So he clearly says here, okay, the Iranian foreign minister, the conflict in the Middle East has reached the point of no return. If Israel's crimes continue, the war will expand and new fronts will open in the region. And a senior member of Hamas said that Hezbollah will launch a military operation against Israel in which all its organizations will participate. Okay, so Hezbollah threatening to get involved. And is my sound still good? If so, just give me a thumbs up if my sound is still good. If I didn't lose the connection or anything. Greg Capella, thank you for the donation, Greg Capella. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Black Cad, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you very much. Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up here. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And I just recently crossed 100,000 subscribers last weekend, and I was hoping that when I crossed 100,000 subscribers, it wouldn't be in the middle of this crazy situation that's going on. It's almost like I didn't even have a chance to celebrate because I'm just so focused on getting the news out and preparing for all this craziness that I just haven't even had a chance to like properly celebrate. But I do plan to do like a celebration stream, 100,000 subscribers celebration stream. And also, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. There was a great company that reached out to me. They make fire starters, and they're going to send me some stuff to give away to you guys. Okay, so that's coming soon. I literally just got contacted like a few days ago by this company. They're going to send me a bunch of fire starters to give away, and I'm going to be reviewing a bunch of their products. They have some really cool fire starters. So that's how we're going to celebrate. I'll do like a celebration stream. I didn't want to do the celebration stream now because this war is kicking off, and that's more important. Covering the war and the events unfolding, it's more important than me getting 100,000 subscribers. So I'm gonna postpone that until things calm down. Maybe there'll be like a little quiet period, before like all hell really breaks loose. Maybe there's gonna be like a little quiet period, and then we can do that. So God's soldiers, how are you doing tonight, man? God's soldiers, hope you're doing well. Bo Yeshua, thank you for the donation. And I'm just very thankful to have such a great audience. All you guys are, for the most part, most of the people in the streams anyway, and most of the people I see in the comments, you guys are all very supportive of not just me, but each other. You guys support each other. Forget about supporting me. I mean, I'll be fine, but it's good that you guys support each other. You have each other's backs. You share information. In these times, that's really important to have a good community. Um, and I wish we could all just be in the same room and physically, do that, but it's good enough. Virtually is good enough. We can support each other that way. So I'm just very thankful that I have this type of audience. Um, Harley Lady 2003. Wow, thank you for that donation. That's very generous of you. I hope you're having a great Saturday. 2 weeks new to your channel, praying you have the protection necessary to spread his word and the spiritual attacks will increase on you. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that you're praying for me, and that's very kind of you. The very generous donation. Thank you so much. And thanks for joining. Thanks for subscribing. So let me just continue on with the news here. Anatoly Golitsyn. Somebody mentioned Anatoly Golitsyn. Yeah, Anatoly Golitsyn has a really good book called New Lies for Old. I'd like to do some videos on him, but Anatoly Golitsyn was a KGB defector. He was a Ukrainian, and he was in the KGB during the USSR, and he defected from the USSR, and he basically leaked out the Soviet plan for spreading global communism, and he basically said that the collapse of the USSR was planned. It wasn't an organic collapse. It was planned out by the Soviets because they kind of felt like they were losing the Cold War, and they wanted to kind of reinvent Russia, so they collapsed it on their own, and then they reinvented like a more, kind of like westernized, free Russia. They had Boris Yeltsin. Boris Yeltsin was like, very friendly with the West. And then they put Putin in power, and now Putin is the guy that's going to bring Russia back to its glory days. Um, and so, but that's he basically believes that the Soviets purposely collapsed the USSR so they could go into hiding, and then in the future they would subvert countries and try to make them communist without using force, like without having to like invade countries, like by doing it by force. They would rather just subvert countries slowly over time and embed certain communist people in high levels of society, like in universities and government, and then slowly subvert and change countries that way, over time, and that's how they would spread global communism. But that's who Anatoly Golitsyn is. Thanks again for that donation, Harley Lady. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Lucy Cabrera, thank you so much for the donation. That's very kind of you. I hope you're having a great Saturday night. Um, Someone said something about a Russia-Ukraine deal. I don't know what you mean, Russia-Ukraine deal. K. Paul, thank you for the donation. Greg, just imagine how many people will get saved in all this. God be the glory. Thank you so much, K. Paul. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Um, Let me see here. So let me just go through the latest headlines, continue. So the Saudi Arabian Foreign Ministry condemned the invasion of Gaza by Israel and is asking the international community to stop it. And they released the Saudi Foreign Ministry released a statement saying, "We condemn and denounce any ground operations carried out by Israel as they threaten the lives of Palestinian civilians and expose them to more dangers and inhumane conditions. We call on the international community to assume its responsibilities to stop the Israeli operation in Gaza." Okay, so the Saudis are turning on the Israelis. Um, and apparently, a missile launched from Gaza by Hamas fell near a Israeli nuclear reactor, the Dimona nuclear reactor. So that's pretty concerning, guys. I mean, there could even be a nuclear accident in Israel because Israel has a lot of nuclear facilities. They have nuclear research facilities. So, Hamas could try to target them. Um, and Israeli media confirmed that the rocket did fall near the nuclear reactor, but there were no casualties and no damage. So that's a good thing. In Lebanon, the Israeli Air Force bombed military sites belonging to Hezbollah today and destroyed a camp, some infrastructure, and observation sites. And the U.S. asked China to discuss with Iran not entering into the conflict due to the possibility of an escalation. This was reported by the Associated Press, quoting a U.S. official. Okay, so the U.S. asked China, they said, "Hey, China, tell Iran not to get involved because if they do, it's going to escalate." So they're trying to work through this with diplomatic channels, but I'm not sure if that's going to work. Israel has been pushed beyond the breaking point. They've put up with so much crap over the years, and this last incident with Hamas is just the final nail in the coffin, and it pushed Israel beyond the point of no return. Um, the Israelis have had enough. Mark Dunphy, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Um, so let's continue here. I'm going to just continue with the news and then I'm going to check the chat and see what you guys are saying in the chat. Uh, let's see. Hezbollah targeted an Israeli army outpost called Al Abad, which resulted in the partial destruction of an observation post. Hamas has been using Russian anti-tank guided missiles to target Israeli armored vehicles when they were doing the ground invasion yesterday. Hamas was using, or they've been using the Kornet anti-tank guided missiles, the Russian one. So, gee, I wonder how Hamas got Russian anti-tank guided missiles. I'm assuming they probably got them from Russia. Uh, and in Syria, Iranian-backed militants have again attacked a U.S. military base near the Al Omar oil field. So that happened yesterday, I guess. Another attempted attack on a U.S. base near the Al Omar oil field in eastern Syria. They've hit that base several times already. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said last night that we are on the threshold of the Third World War and everyone should prepare. And Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko said last night that World War III may start in the Middle East. So, that's the latest information that I have, guys. So with that being said, I'm just going to check the chat and see what you guys are saying. And I'm also going to just quickly check some of my sources to see if there's any updated information since in the last hour or so. We have some breaking news. Germany has put 1,000 soldiers on alert for deployment to the Middle East in case of an emergency. All right, so let me get that up on the screen. Let me see if I can get that on the screen. Bradley Moore, wow. Thank you so much for that donation, man. Wow, you're so kind. Take yourself out for dinner, Greg. Thank you. I actually just got some dinner at a Mexican place over here. I got some fajitas and chimichangas. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that, man, and thanks for all your help. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's very, very kind of you, very generous of you. So Germany putting 1,000 soldiers on alert. 1,000 soldiers on alert in case of an emergency. Um, let's see here. We're hearing that apparently the Israeli Air Force has carried out an airstrike on a position of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, in Quneitra. Quneitra is in Syria. So Israel is now striking Syrian territory. They're going after the IRGC. This is how things could escalate because Russia has bases in Syria. And this could be, the Bible says that Israel would, or God would, put hooks in the jaws of Magog. Well, this could be how God does that. He has Israel bombard Syria, and then that's going to get Russia involved. Because Russia has bases there, and then they're going to come in and um, so it's a crazy world, guys. Crazy world. Um, Jay Staler, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Thanks for what you do, brother. I am currently in the process for enlistment into the Army as infantry. Wow. Wow, that's awesome, man. That's great. I don't know if any of you guys out there see Jay Staler's comment here, but he said that he's joining the infantry, so keep Jay Staler in your prayers. He's going to be joining the Army for infantry. And hopefully you do more than just infantry. The Army has all kinds of cool jobs you can do. It definitely start with infantry, but there's so many things you can do from there. I wouldn't just stay infantry. I mean, there's nothing wrong with infantry. You need infantry, obviously, in the military, but there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do. So definitely, I would try to pursue that. All kinds of different opportunities they have now in the Army. Lots of different things you can do. Military police, you can do special forces, you can do sniper, you can do explosive ordnance, you can do, I mean, there's so many different things. So many different things. So keep Jay Staler in your prayers. Hopefully, the drill instructors won't make you do too many push ups. Or clean too many toilets with a toothbrush. So let's see, what other breaking news do I have here? Let's see. I think that's the latest breaking news, guys. I'll have to do some more research, but I think I'm pretty much up to date. There was some crazy flooding in Mecca tonight. Mecca, that's the mosque in Saudi Arabia. There was like some crazy flood over there today. It's pretty interesting. Um, Strange timing, if you ask me. Um, Black Cat, thank you for that donation, man. Greg, you have a great mod named Lorna. Yeah, Lorna's awesome. Lorna's great. Um, she's one of the best mods on YouTube, I would say, in my opinion. One of the best mods on YouTube. She mods for a variety of different channels. She's very good at what she does. Um, Watch Damascus. Yeah, Damascus. Yeah, the Bible says Damascus will be destroyed. That's right. What's interesting is how all the Western countries and all the major countries in the world are evacuating Lebanon. They're telling people to get out of Lebanon, and that's very telling. It means that they might do some kind of aerial campaign in Lebanon, that they're expecting the war to spread to Lebanon. So that's why all these countries, including the U.S., are telling. That's cool. A female trucker. Wow, 10 years. That's incredible. Um, that's awesome. I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of interesting places. One of my friends is a truck driver, or he has a channel here on YouTube, Oregon Preparedness. He's a trucker, and he always sends me some. He sends me videos and pictures from all across the country. He's always going all over the country, and that's one of the nice things about being a trucker is that you get to see all kinds of cool stuff, all these places that most people never get a chance to go to. Looks like something happened here. Sound is back. Okay, looks like, yeah, I got thrown off. I'm on a hotel Wi-Fi here, so it's not the best Wi-Fi. Um, how long was my audio out for? What was I in the middle of saying before it cut out? If you can just tell me so I don't make sure I say what I wanted to say. What was I in the middle of talking about before it cut out? Um, Thank you, Jay Staler, for the donation. I hope you I hope you enjoy. I know that I know this sounds funny, but I hope you enjoy your boot camp. It might suck, but you'll get to do some cool stuff, I'm sure. An army boot camp's not that bad anyway. It's not like Marines or something. Smoking Swamp says NYPrepper crew about to overrun their Wi-Fi. That's funny. Do I know J.R. Nyquist? Yeah, I know who J.R. Nyquist is. He's a smart guy. I listen to J.R. Nyquist sometimes. No, I'm not on vacation. I'm not on vacation. The screen is black. Okay. Sorry about that. See if I can put something up there so you guys have something to look at. It's not just black, I guess. Let's see. Let's see what else here. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna actually see if I can look at the flight tracker with you guys, check out some flights. But if you're just joining in the live stream and you want to know what the latest information is about Israel, you can check my last upload in the videos section. I posted a video like 3 hours ago, and that's just a raw update on all the latest that's going on over there. Um, so Vaughn Alexander says, Greg, not only is your content great, but you are seriously a good person. And that's hard to find nowadays. Appreciate you, brother. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you think I'm a good person. Thank you. That's nice of you to say. Um, I try my best, you know. I mean, I'm not perfect, but thank you. I really appreciate that. Alex Litvinenko says crazy flooding in Mecca. Yeah, there's crazy flooding in Mecca, and yeah, the timing is very strange. Very strange. Yeah, I'm not no, Duramax, he's from Kentucky. He doesn't talk much or show his face, but he has a southern twang. I don't have that kind of twang, so we're different people. Um, he's just a buddy. Operator 357, any snow forecasting? Yeah, I heard something that there might be snow next week, possibly in some areas. That would be interesting. Overall, though, this winter, I expect another above average winter. I'm a snow lover, and I love, you know, snow and winter and things like that. But it's an El Nino winter, so during El Ninos, usually there's no major. It's not going to be like a major winter with, you know. I think it'll be colder than last winter, though. It's not going to be like no winter at all, but it's going to be a milder winter with less snow this year again, because we're going to be in an El Nino. And El Ninos for most of the U.S. and also Europe mean a warmer winter, less snow. But the El Nino is going to fade away. It's supposed to fade away. Supposed to fade away in the spring, in the like early 2024. It's supposed to start fading away, and then it might go back to a La Nina. And if it goes back, then next winter is going to be cold. So my personal predictions, and I'm not a climatologist, but I follow the weather for many years. It's something I'm very interested in. Um, my prediction is this winter we're going to have snow. It's not going to be like a crazy blizzard snow winter, you know, with crazy snow and crazy cold. We'll have a few outbreaks of cold. We'll have some good snowstorms, but it's not going to be like a record cold, or it's going to be still above average. But I think next winter and the winter after that are going to be cold. I think they're going to potentially be very cold and lots of snow. So hopefully we'll get spared this winter. I think that's what's going to happen, which is good because you know that's one less thing to worry about. As much as I love snow, you know I love snowshoeing. I love going off-roading in the snow, taking my truck in the snow. But you know, having to deal with record cold plus World War III is it's always good to not have extra stuff to deal with. Let's see. I'm gonna just check the latest forecast from the National Weather Service, which you always have to take with a grain of salt, obviously, because they're very pro global warming. Um, so we had 3 nuclear war command and control planes airborne earlier. So U.S. nuclear forces are on high alert still. Let me see here. Hold on 1 minute, guys. Let's see here. Just gonna update. I gotta update the ticker at some point. I don't know if I'll leave. I don't know if I'm gonna leave the stream up all night tonight. I'm not sure if I'll do that. I did it last night because it was like, the invasion started. I don't know if I'll do it tonight. The news seems to have quieted down a little bit, and when things really get crazy, that's when I'll definitely keep it up all the time as much as possible. USMC has the toughest boot camp. Did I hear about the Category 5 hurricane in Mexico? Yes, I did. Hurricane Otis. I did hear about Hurricane Otis. Lori Ewert says, loving Greg because coming from a biblical perspective. Yes, I always try to relate everything to the Bible. Um, um, what is my filter to see military units? Well, Flight Radar. Flight Radar has a filter. You just go to the bottom, and then they used to never have these filters. This is the new, like last year they added these filters so you can filter like, ground vehicles, gliders. I've never even done like ground vehicles. That's pretty interesting. Let's see, what's that? Like ground vehicles, drones, helicopters. I usually do military and government. And then I have my own custom filter for doomsday planes, which I have like all the nuclear planes, they're all in there. The bombers, the E6s, the E4s. I have those set up a special filter, which took me a while to set that up. That filters out all the doomsday and nuclear planes and strato tankers. It's interesting is we actually have a tanker off the coast of Massachusetts right now. Looks like it might be going to Europe, but it's actually flying kind of low over here. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it's going to Europe. Let's see. What else do I have? Oh, let's look at the El Nino advisory from, wow, they're expecting the El Nino to last through March through May. So through the spring, they're expecting this El Nino to stay. That's pretty interesting. But they're always very bullish on the El Ninos because they're pro global warming. So this is the National Weather Service Climate Prediction Center, and this is their summary. This is valid as of the 23rd. This is the last update they put out, the 23rd. They put them out every week, once a week. So this is the most current update. So we're under El Nino advisory. El Nino's expected to continue through Northern Hemisphere spring with an 80% chance during March through May. So they're expecting this to be a really long El Nino. So here you can see, I mean, we're basically at the peak of it already. You can see the oranges here. So we started actually like in the spring is when it was neutral in April, and then starting April, the sea surface temperatures in the tropical Pacific just started skyrocketing. And I don't think it's going to last all the way through May. I think that's extreme. But some pretty strong, it's a strong El Nino. Look at that. 1.3 degrees Celsius, that's really high. Anything above like 1.0, I mean, that's 1 degree Celsius. Doesn't sound like much, but for sea surface temperatures, that's a lot. So it's a pretty strong El Nino. Let's just so here you can see this is how you know there's a El Nino. This orange along the equatorial tropical Pacific. That's the warm waters here, and that causes the global temperatures to increase. When there's an El Nino, global temperatures go up. So that's just temporary. It's been that way for forever. Even like the Mayans, they used to be able to know when there was a El Nino and a La Nina based on the winds that would be coming in from the Caribbean. They would know based on the winds, and they would adjust their crops because then I think during El Ninos Mexico gets dry, so they would adjust their crops based on the cycle, the oceanic cycle. They would be able to tell if it was El Nino or not, by based on the winds. So it's been around a long time. Let's just see. They always have this thing here that shows where we are in relation to previous years. Give us a comparison. What's funny is they don't have like. It's interesting. They have us at 1.3 degrees. Yeah, so I mean the last strong El Nino was 2015 into 2016. It was very strong, 2.6 degrees Celsius above normal. That's very strong for an El Nino. But then look how many La Ninas the last 3 years were back-to-back La Ninas. Um, so, but it looks like we're at like 1.3 now. Um, so, so we're over 1.0. Anything above 1.0 is considered strong. We're at 1.3. So it's a pretty strong El Nino. Anyway, I got off on a tangent about the ocean cycles. Um, Ingrid Perez says, check out Medicane that hit Italy. I'm not sure what that is. Medicane. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Maybe if you can explain that better. CanVet811 says, I don't trust any climate stuff that comes from government. They are so corrupted and have a biased agenda. Very true. Very true. Nunya Business says, I love this channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. Tartan Granny, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Did I see the U.S. is stopping exports of civilian guns and ammo for 90 days? Yeah, I almost forgot to talk about that. Yes, they're stopping. They're stopping the civilian gun and ammo export. Yes, that's very, very telling. Very telling of what could be happening very soon. Smoky Mountain Bushcraft, how's it going? When is the grand solar minimum going to start? I think it probably already started, in my opinion. I think it already started. It's just there's a lag effect. There's a little bit of a lag, you know, because the sun has been so active the last 3 decades. So there's a little bit of a lag. Let's just see what's going on in the Eastern Mediterranean here. Looks like we have a P8 Poseidon doing loops. Look at that. P8 Poseidon, sub hunter off the coast of Lebanon right now, patrolling this area. I mean, the only subs that would be here would be Russian or Chinese subs. I don't think Iran, does Iran have any subs? I don't think they do. What else do we have here? Two P8s. Look at this. We got two P8s in the area. We got another C-17 coming in. Look at that. Another C-17. Absolutely crazy, guys. With these C-17s, it's just insane. Here's another C-17, another C-17. Got three C-17s going to the Eastern Med. Four Four C-17s. I'm sorry. Four C-17s and two P-8 Poseidons. Just ridiculous, all the C-17s going in. I mean, they're just going in there like clockwork now. And this is like, I remember when Ukraine started, they were doing that. They were sending in the C-17s, but this is like nothing. I mean, Ukraine is like nothing compared to this. I mean, we've probably sent like, I don't know, hundreds of C-17s in the last 2 weeks, probably hundreds. And I wonder what's in those C-17s, you know? We're going to be deploying 11 Patriot missile systems in the Middle East, guys. 11. Think about that. Just one Patriot missile battery was like game changing for Ukraine. Just one, okay? Ukraine was able to take out hypersonic missiles with it. Okay, Russia shot hypersonic missiles at the Patriot battery. They thought they could take out the Patriot, and the Patriot missile defeated the hypersonic. And that's just one battery. One battery was a game changer for Ukraine, and they're putting 11 in the Middle East. Okay, 11. You don't put 11 Patriot missiles somewhere unless you're expecting a major war and some kind of major missile attack. I mean, 11 is just insane, guys, insane. Uh, and then they're putting a THAAD system up, and the THAAD system is specifically for ballistic missiles. They have an Aegis warship, which you don't hear many people talking about, but the Aegis warship is for that's the USS Carney. They actually used it already to stop those missiles that came from Yemen. They fired the Houthi rebels fired the missiles towards Israel from Yemen, and thank God that the USS Carney was there, because who knows what that missile would have done wherever it landed and where it was going. But the USS Carney is a Aegis warship, and you know that's no joke. The Aegis, they have the Aegis ashore in Eastern Europe, in Romania and Poland. They have the Aegis ashore, which is the same thing as the warship technology. It's just that the interceptors are on land um, instead of on a warship. So, you know, if you don't know what the Aegis system is, it's literally it's a warship that has missile interceptors. It's a missile defense system on a warship, so they can move the warship anywhere they want and anchor it, and then they don't even have to anchor it. I mean, but they can move the warship anywhere, and they can use it to shoot out ballistic missiles. Okay, and the Aegis missiles in particular are very good at taking out ballistic missiles. They're higher velocity and longer distance than than the Patriot system. So I don't know if it's the USS Carney or some other one, but I know they moved an Aegis system into the region. They probably already had it anyway. Probably already had it. Um, so let's see what else is going on here. Just checking the news. But this is what's going on right now. We got four C-17s going in and two P-8 Poseidons patrolling the Eastern Mediterranean. So I still think that what we saw last night was the introduction. I don't think it's the actual like main event. I think it's just like the introduction. Like if you're reading a book, you know, the introduction. We haven't gotten to the main, you know, to the meat of the sandwich yet. You know, we just had a little bit of the bread, but the meat of the sandwich is still coming. Don't worry. But we just had a little bit of the bread, basically. Duramax says will get worse as we go on into 2040. Yes. Yep. The grand solar minimum. Yep. Absolutely. Yes. The last grand solar minimum we had was um the Maunder minimum, which was in the 1400s to 1600s. There was a grand solar minimum that lasted like 200 years, and it was so cold that it caused the Little Ice Age. And during the Little Ice Age, the river in London would freeze every winter, and they would have frost fairs on the river. So people, it would be like flea markets on the river because the river would just freeze solid, and they would be able to, you know, bring like set up. They would set up like tents or whatever, um, and it would they would have like a full-fledged market on a frozen river. I mean, it's just crazy to think about anywhere, let alone London of all places. I mean, that river never freezes. So that river in London would freeze every winter during the grand solar minimum. So that's pretty crazy. It's crazy to think about. Melody Acevis says, when they send doomsday planes up, are they practicing? Sometimes it's practice, but most of the times it's not. Most of the times it's just like routine patrolling, I guess you could say. They have to make sure that those planes are working, and they have to do like routine flights with them, to make sure that they're functional. And it's really hard to guess what they're doing unless you've worked on those before. It's You need a very very high clearance to work on those planes. Um, you probably need a Yankee White clearance, which is the highest clearance. That's the clearance that they give to the Secret Service, to the guys that are directly with the president. That's a Yankee White. So all the people on the Doomsday planes, they have to have a Yankee White clearance, which is higher than a top secret clearance. It takes like years to get that clearance. So it's anybody's guess what they're doing. Usually it's just a high level of readiness. They have to be ready, and they have to have those planes constantly moving, in case they need to put the president on one or the defense secretary. They have to keep them ready. So, because that's where the president would go. Uh, in a nuclear war, they would send the president on that plane, and he would command the entire nuclear arsenal with that from that plane, because it's actually safer from the plane than it is in the ground in a bunker, because bunkers can be hit with nukes. They have ground penetrating warheads now. That these are special nuclear warheads that can penetrate through Earth. And then once they penetrate through Earth, the shock wave, when it detonates, could damage the bunker. And so even the strongest bunkers that we have may not withstand modern warheads, especially Earth penetrating ones. So it's actually safer for the president to be airborne during a nuclear war than it is for him to be in a bunker. But we do have very good bunkers. We have so many different bunkers, and a lot of the bunkers we have now are old bunkers that they don't even use anymore, because their location is so well known, and Russia would immediately target a lot of the bunkers. So a lot of these bunkers, they actually don't even really like, for example, like even Cheyenne Mountain. Cheyenne Mountain is very well known. The Russians would immediately target Cheyenne Mountain. They would hit Cheyenne Mountain with probably dozens of nukes directly to try to crumble it. Um, but they have all different kinds of bunkers. And I personally believe that there's tunnels under the White House. There's tunnels under the White House that lead out of the White House to neighboring buildings. Artem Momenti says, "You are my go-to now. Like your brief analysis. I'm glad you like my short updates. I try to make them as short as possible, but sometimes there's just so much news I can't squeeze it into like anything less than 20 minutes sometimes. Some of these updates, like last week, it was like there was so much news. I would put out an update, and then literally as soon as I would finish filming the update and uploading, which total that's like about an hour, 20, 30 minutes to film, 10 minutes to edit, and then another 10 minutes to upload and stuff. Literally within an hour, I would go and check the news again, and there would be like 50 new headlines. And it's like, I feel like there's just no way to keep up. It's slowed down now. It's a lot better now, but it was insane. Like last week, 2 weeks ago, it was insane how much news was pouring in. I mean, you should have seen my notes. My notes were like 3 pages long. I mean, I had like probably 200 bullet points written down for each video. I still have those notes. They're in on my computer. They were like 3 pages long. It was insane. And it would take me like 30 minutes just to read through it all. And it's probably going to come back like that very soon. Um, so anyway, back to the White House. The White House has tunnels under it. This is going to sound funny, but if any of you guys ever play Call of Duty, the not the new one I didn't like the new one, but the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare from like 10 years ago, I recommend everybody play that game because it's very it's almost like predictive. Like all these video games, all these movies, they predict everything, but especially Call of Duty, they have the Modern Warfare series, which is about the Russians invading America, and there's like an EMP, and they take over. They take over like New York City, DC. They take over the White House. They land their infantry, and you play like a soldier trying to take everything back, and there's like one section where you go into the tunnels under the White House. There's tunnels that lead from the White House to neighboring buildings. But I personally believe they have tunnels under the White House because how else would they get the president out of there if something were to happen? There's no way. I mean, yeah, they could send a helicopter, but by the time the chopper shows up, I don't know if they keep the chopper on standby all the time, and they have to have a way of getting him out of there. So, uh, that's a great game, circa 2010. Yeah, the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare series, the original Black Ops and Black Ops 2, excellent games, great story. Um, I mean, it's very relevant to what's happening now. I highly recommend everybody play those games, even if you're not a gamer. The storyline is just it's an interesting story that they came up with for those games. So, let's see if there's any other breaking news at the moment. I don't think so. Um, I'm trying to debate if I should leave the stream up tonight or just shut it down. Um, I don't know what to do. Oil refineries, power plants, water treatment plants. Those games cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Battlefield is good too. Yeah, I liked Battlefield. I thought they were both good. I don't know. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I think they're both good and they have just different they're just a little bit different. So I like them both. Susan Cole says, I'm in Montana. I guess I will turn to ash. That's funny. I hope not. Lorna says, shut it down. Yeah, I'll probably just shut it down. I'll shut it down and take a break, let my computer take a break. Um, I think that's a good idea. And I'm gonna see if I can get a separate computer just for the 24/7 streams. Do you think aerial refuelers are going as a contingency plan in case one of the carriers gets hit so planes can refuel to loiter? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, of course for contingency plans, but I think also for offensive plans, if they're going to if the situation escalates, they need aerial refuelers to refuel the fighter jets, refuel bombers. I mean, there's so many things you need to refuel. So, they're sending a ton of refuelers to Europe. They've already sent them there. So that's very telling, very telling. All the Patriot missiles, all the carrier strike groups, the F-15Es, 24 F-15Es, those are the their primary mission is tactical nuclear weapons delivery. Okay, the F-15E Strike Eagle is primarily a nuclear weapons delivery jet. That's what we use it for now. Um, why would you move 24 of those to the Middle East unless you're planning on using tactical nuclear weapons? There's no other reason. Obviously, they have to prepare for any scenario, either a conventional or nuclear. And like I've said many times, and I'll say it again, Iran is a mountainous country. There's bunkers everywhere. There's caves. It's like Afghanistan on steroids. You guys remember, maybe some of you guys don't remember, but I remember because I was in high school when 9/11 happened and the wars afterwards when Bush, was saying we're going to smoke them out of their holes when they were trying to take out those caves that Al Qaeda had in Tora Bora and all those areas. Well, that's what Iran is like. It's all mountainous. There's caves. There's bunkers. So if we do end up having to strike Iran, it's not going to be a conventional strike. I mean, it could be, but if they do a conventional strike, it's not going to do what needs to be done. It's just going to it's like, it's the only way for them to truly do what they want to do against Iran is they have to use nuclear weapons. There's no other way because the bunkers under the mountains are there's no way that a Tomahawk missile is going to do enough damage or some giant runway or air bases. A Tomahawk missile with a conventional warhead it's good enough to take out a fighter jet. Maybe a terrorist compound, like, if they know that, let's say, some leader is holed up somewhere, they can take out the whole compound with the Tomahawk, but you're not going to destroy a bunker. You're not going to destroy a base with it. You need nuclear weapons for that, small yield nuclear weapons, and they have the assets in the region to do that, and they have the bombers, they have the B2s. B2s are in Guam probably, I'm sure. Diego Garcia, I'm sure we have one or two there. B1s are there. Um, Ezekiel 38 and 39 war. Yeah, it could be. Irish Raider. It could be the Ezekiel 38, 39 war. Uh, Dan Zarks. What's going on, Dan Zarks? Great to see you again. Do you think? Oh, I already answered your question. Sorry. um, Thank you, Dan Zarks. Thank you so much. So, thanks to the mods. You guys are great. You guys are just so awesome. Um, and I hope that, when things settle down with everything, I don't know if it's going to settle down, but maybe we'll have some quiet periods where I can just have like a more relaxed live stream. We can do the 100,000 subscriber celebration stream and we can just hang out and chat about things that are not so super serious. Talk about more interesting and fun things rather than doom and gloom. Something in the news about the Philippines. Yeah, a Chinese warship, either Chinese, I think it was a Chinese warship, blocked a Philippine vessel. I think it was like a fishing vessel. It like blocked it from going somewhere. China tried to say that the Philippine military was like resupplying something, and I don't know. But yeah, it was the Chinese warship like blocked a Philippine ship. So we have all these fronts opening up, you know. Yeah, Diego Garcia, I'm sure they have at least one or two B2s sitting over there. They have to. They have them in Iceland now. So yeah, they have everything they need. Lorna says the mods want Nightbot. Okay, you're gonna have to explain to me again how to do that Nightbot. I'm sorry, I know you sent me email about it, Lorna. I just it's been so long, and I get like 100 emails a day now, so it's like it's buried under thousands of emails. So maybe if you could find that email you sent and just like bump it up for me, or that would be good. Or if not, then I'll have to search it. Um, I remember you sent me a how-to on how to do that. That would be great. Um, and actually, the Nightbot, we could actually use it at night when I do the 24/7 streams. We'll turn them on. JF is asking if a basement is safe. Yeah, a basement is actually a very good shelter for nuclear war. Um, a basement will reduce radiation from outside by at least 50%, depending on what kind of basement it is and how much fallout is in your area and what kind of house you have. If you have like a brick house and then you have a basement under it, like a full basement, you're actually in pretty good shape. Um, you'll get a few halving thicknesses of few protection factors, several halving thicknesses there of protection. Um, so the big thing is, basements. I mean, that's why I always tell people if you're a prepper, even if you're not a prepper, if you're like a part-time prepper, or you're not really a prepper, but you want to have some level of preparedness, but you're not hardcore. You're like a soft core or medium core prepper, right? Even if you're a soft core, medium core prepper, if you're in a position where you're looking for a new place to live, whether it's an apartment or a house you're trying to buy, you should always think about, is there a basement there? You know, or like if you renting in a, let's say you're renting a house or you're renting an apartment in a complex, see if there's a basement under that apartment. A lot of apartments have basements, uh, where for like laundry rooms and mechanical rooms. Those basements are very solid. They're underneath an entire building with tons of, reinforced concrete. I mean, that's basically like a bunker. That's going to protect you from radiation. And then houses, even a stick frame house, a wood frame house with a full basement, you're going to get a good amount of protection. You're going to have like I forget what it was. I have to double check my references here, what the actual protection factor, what the actual number is. Yeah, that's what I thought. So you're going to have like a protection factor of like 10, okay, in a basement, a full basement with a wood frame house. You're going to have a protection factor of 10 in the basement. So that's actually pretty good. You're reducing the radiation by 90%. Okay, so you're going to have 1/10 of the radiation in your basement than what's outside. So that's pretty good, and that's just a wood frame house, no fallout shelter. That's just plain basement, full basement with the windows covered with dirt, obviously. But then you can add to it. You can add a fallout shelter in your basement that will And it doesn't have to be like a very complicated fallout shelter. It could literally just be bags of sand stacked up, you know, um, and that will increase the protection even more. You know, cellars, any kind of like root cellar is a great fallout shelter. I could talk about nuclear war all night, so stop me if I'm getting carried away. It's one of my favorite topics. I love talking about nuclear war or nuclear war survival, but nuclear war in general is it's one of my favorite things. Um, Thank you, K. Paul, for sharing my nuclear war survival playlist. I appreciate that. Pine Gap in Australia is busy. Pine Gap, that's the NSA complex. Yeah, Pine Gap is in the middle of Australia. That's a weird place there. Nunya Business says you love the nuclear war playlist. I'm glad you love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have more nuclear war videos to do. I just been so busy covering the war in the Middle East that I don't have time. But still have a few more videos I have to finish. I have to finish the like two more videos in the How to Survive Nuclear War series that I have. I have to do like two more, and then that'll end it. The whole series will be completed. But very sad news. The star of Friends, Matthew Perry, died. Very sad. I mean, I wasn't like a fanboy or anything, but it's just crazy. I remember it was so popular when I was a kid growing up in the 90s. Friends was like, it was on TV like every night. What can you do if you have no basement? I've done a whole video. Check my nuclear war survival playlist in my YouTube channel. Check it because I've done a lot of videos on that topic. So it's hard for me to just tell you everything you need to know in 5 minutes. You need to watch those videos, but basically you have a lot of different options. But the number one thing you need to keep in mind is you want dense material between you and the radiation. So, stones, bricks, concrete, that's what you want, okay? Um, Anything made of concrete, anything made of stone, anything made of brick, earth, okay? Caves, subways, metro stations. That's what you want to be in. Underground is the best. Okay? The best shelter for nuclear war is underground. Underground is going to protect you from everything, from the blast, from the heat, and from the radiation. But when we're talking about radiation, nothing beats going underground. Underground is number one, the best. So anything underground, basements, tunnels, either man-made or artificial tunnels, whatever you can find, it's going to protect you. Like even if, let's say, this sounds crazy, but and I'm going to do a video on this, but uh, even if you live in a big city, right? And they have those tunnels that go, like in New York City, they have like the Lincoln Tunnel or the Holland Tunnel. Even if you went into one of those, I mean, nobody's going to be driving their car, when missiles are inbound, or, you can get into one of those tunnels and they have those little like walking paths on the side of the tunnel for the maintenance workers. You can just literally go into the middle of that tunnel because they're like a mile long, and just go into the middle and just sit there, and you'll be very well protected, and it doesn't have to be like an underground tunnel. It can be going under a mountain, like a tunnel, like a train tunnel. I did a video in my area where I live in northern Pennsylvania. Northern Pennsylvania used to have like crazy. They had like lumber barons. I mean, the logging industry in Pennsylvania like 100 years ago was insane. They cut down every tree in Pennsylvania at one time, and they called it the Pennsylvania Desert because they cut all the trees down and there was dust storms. But they created all these tunnels under the mountains because Pennsylvania is all mountainous. It's all hills. You know, it's sort of like West Virginia. It's just the whole state is hills. There's like no flat area in PA at all, except like Philly. Everything else is hills and mountains. So they had to build like tunnels through all those mountains to get the lumber and the coal and whatever else they were moving through. This was during like the turn of the last century, the Industrial Revolution. So there's all these old tunnels, and I did a video. I have a video. If you go to my nuclear war survival playlist, it's in there. But there's all these tunnels around, and you go into one of those tunnels. They're usually like a half a mile long, or heck, mile long, whatever. You go in there, and that's a really good place to be. Or maybe you live in a place that has a lot of mines. You can go into a mine as long as it's sturdy and it's not going to cave in. Aries One, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Aries One. I hope you're having a great Saturday night. Thank you so much. Wow, that's very nice of you. Greg, if you go to another country, can it still get you? Oh, yeah. If there's a nuclear war, the entire northern hemisphere is going to there's going to be fallout in North America, in Europe, and in Russia. The whole northern hemisphere is going to have fallout. So the safest place to be in the world is actually like South America. South America is one of the safest places to be for a nuclear war. Like parts of Argentina, like the rural parts of Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Chile, those like places down there. Those are some of the safest places to be in the world. If you had to choose a place to bug out to and be like totally better than here as those areas. That's why the Nazis wanted to go down there. That's why all the Nazis they had bunkers in Argentina and in South America because they knew it was very secure down there, very remote, not a lot of nuclear war targets there. So a lot of resources. It's not too dry. There's a lot of water, good soil. Bradley D. Phillips says, does one of the videos covered predict nuclear targets and how far the blast zone? Yes, I have covered that. If you go to my How to Survive Nuclear War series, I cover the blast radius of common warheads that are deployed in China, Russia, and the U.S. Mostly China and Russia. I go over the blast radius of those. But you don't really need to get caught up in that because generally speaking, most nuclear weapons today, yeah, one may have a 2 mile radius, one may have an 8 mile radius, depending on there's different damage zones, the pressure, it's not, so you have like a severe damage, light damage. But there's a few miles of a difference, but it's not a huge variety, a huge difference. Nobody's using 50 megaton warheads anymore. Nobody's even using anything above 1 megaton. I think China is the only country that has a high yield warhead for their primary nuclear triad. They have the Dongfeng, which is 5 megatons. But they have that because they don't have a lot of nuclear weapons. So their strategy is we would rather have, we don't have a lot of warheads, but the warheads we do have are very powerful, and that's always been China's strategy. So they have a couple hundred warheads, but their warheads have a high yield. But even the 5 megaton Dong Fang, the blast radius, if you're 10 miles away, you should be pretty safe for the most part, in general, and you can really get into the weeds with that, because then you have different effects. Is it going to rupture your eardrum? Is it going to blow your lungs out? Are windows going to break? I mean, that goes way beyond a quick discussion. You need a lot of time to talk about that. But generally speaking, I like to just use, like, if you're a few miles away from the target, you should survive. At least 5 miles, you should survive if you take shelter behind a sturdy object so the pressure wave doesn't hit your body. Uh, then you should be fine. Like 5, 10 miles, general rule of thumb. And then you're still going to get burned possibly because the burn radius is going to be far, and burn radius is going to be far, and um, the yeah, nuke map. You can use nuke map. Yep, nuke map. Nuke map has all the primary deployed weapons. My email. Somebody asked me about my email. My email is in the about section in my YouTube. It's NYPrepper85@gmail.com. Uh, just keep in mind, guys, if you're sending me emails, only send me stuff if it's very, like, not. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to, like, if you want to send me something, send me something. But I've been getting bombarded with emails. Try to, like, if you're sending me multiple emails, try to, like, chain them together into one string of emails so I don't have like 5 separate emails from the same person, because like I'll have like one person send me like 3 or 4 different things, and each thing in a different email. Then I'll have another person that sends me like 5 things in a different email each one. So it's like every day I get another 100 emails, and I have to go through them all, and I just never have the chance to go through it. So if you could, like, you send me an email and there's something else you want to send me, just reply to your initial email and reply to it and send it that way, so it's all in the same chain, you know, if you're sending me like links and stuff like that, because then it just gets overwhelming. Um, if you can, obviously, but yeah, feel free to send me emails, but just keep in mind that, if you're sending me information that you haven't vetted for yourself, don't send it, because then it's just going to waste your time, my time. Make sure that the information has been vetted to a certain degree, that it's not like BS, because there's a lot of BS out there. People make up all kinds of stories. Um, uh, Mark Zuckerberg is prepared with barrels of white zinc. Lincoln, Nebraska. Yeah, Lincoln, Nebraska is a target because you have Stratcom over there, Strategic Command, Offutt Air Base. So yeah, yeah. If it's something very serious, you can put like special headline. Yeah, like if it's some very serious, that's a good point. Yeah, if you're just sending me like a casual email for whatever reason, it's not important. I mean, feel free to send it. It's just that don't expect me to respond like right away, because right now I'm getting so many. But if it's something super important, just put like a headline, say like urgent or very important or something, so I can see which is like really important and what's not. Um, I don't mean to sound rude or ungrateful or something. I'm just trying to make it so this way I actually have time to respond to everybody, because if There's just no way I can go through 100 emails a day, you know, it's impossible. I just don't have the time. And then it sucks because then there's emails that I don't get to answer that may have something important in them, but they get lost between other emails that are not so important, or some information that's not been vetted, and my email gets clogged up with information that's more rumors than fact, you know, and I have to go through and see what's real, what's fake. And it takes time to do that, you know. So if you're going to send me info, if you're sending me info, just vet it for yourself before you send it to me so I don't have to vet it, you know? Like, don't send me something and say, oh, I'm not sure if this is true. If you're not sure if it's true, try to find it for yourself if it's true before you send it to me, because then it's going to take me time to research that. And then I have like 50 other people sending me stuff that they want me to do the same thing for. And it's just impossible, you know? It just makes it a lot harder for me. So I hope you guys understand. Um, so I think I'm gonna wind down the live stream, guys. I'm gonna try to relax a little bit. It's been a crazy past 2 days. Really, the past 3 weeks have been insane. Do I sound tired? Yeah, I'm pretty tired. Yeah, pretty tired. I need a personal assistant. That's funny. I wish I could afford a personal assistant. That's funny. That's actually a good idea. Maybe at some point I can get one. That's not a bad idea. Depending on how popular I get, you know, it might be something to think about down the road. That would help things out a lot. Sammy Shisada, I hope you're doing well. Great to see you. Filipina in a foreign land says the Philippines is heating up. Owl Fox Prepper says good night. I do have a PO box. I do have a PO box. But I don't share that with just anyone, because then I would get tons of mail too. And you know, those PO box slots are very small. So I think I'm gonna wind it down, guys. So if you want to know the latest on Israel, you can scroll back to the beginning of this stream, or you can watch the update that I posted from like 4 hours ago now. I posted an update, the last update in my videos. It was a video update, most recent video update. That's going to have all the latest information about Israel from the last 24 hours. So check that out, or you can just scroll back and rewatch this one. I go over a lot of the same information anyway here. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for all the support. Thanks for helping me get to 100,000 subscribers. That's just amazing. I can't believe it. It's still so surreal for me that there's that many people that want to listen to me run my mouth for hours on end. It's pretty funny. It's pretty crazy to think about. What do I think the weather will be like after nuclear war? Um, that's a good question. And nobody really knows, but I mean, we can guess that, you know, there could potentially be a nuclear winter, you know. I mean, nobody knows if there's going to be a nuclear winter or not. A lot of that is just theory. So there may not be a nuclear winter. It's just the radiation, and then that's it. The radiation goes away, and then we rebuild. You know, so there's a lot of myth when it comes to nuclear war that's perpetuated by theories and speculation rather than fact. You know, nobody knows if there's going to be a nuclear winter. We don't know. We've never done, there's no way of testing it. I don't care, how many degrees somebody has. I don't care if they went to Harvard. I don't care if they have 5 PhDs. Nobody knows because we've never been through that. So there could be a nuclear winter. There may not be a nuclear winter. It could just be the radiation, and then the radiation goes away, and that's it. Um, Washington State, yeah, Washington State. There's the biggest target for you is going to be you have two big targets. You have Bangor. Bangor is where there's well, actually that's a major target. Two major targets and some secondary targets. You have Bangor, Bangor Kitsap, which is where the Trident missile storage is. Okay, so Trident missiles are the nuclear missiles that go in our subs. There's a storage facility there. Okay, and it just so happens that right next to the storage facility where we have, hundreds or 1,000 missiles, next to that we have most of our nuclear armed subs. There's a base for them there. So those are too big. That's one target there. And then we have Jim Creek Naval Radio Station. And Jim Creek, it's a fixed transmitter site where they transmit very low frequency messages to our nuclear forces. Okay. Um, and Jim Creek radio station, it's very interesting. It's in like a valley, and they have these like wires that go across the valley. It looks crazy if you look at the pictures of it. But Jim Creek, that's a target, and Bangor Kitsap, those are the two major targets. And then Russia could potentially hit the Hanford site in southeastern Washington, the Hanford site where we have all the nuclear waste. They could try to blow that because there's a lot of nuclear material there. There's a research facility there, and they could just do that to contaminate stuff. They could hit the Hanford site. So yeah, the Hanford site would be a target potentially. Yes, it is potentially a target. Yep. Um, Targets in eastern North Carolina, you have Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg is a target. That's the special forces base there. That's a target. That's a primary target. So you can check all the targets. They're on my website. If you go to my website, the link is below the description, or the link is in the description below. You can go into my website, and I have a list for all the states. Um, so check. Maryland has a ton of targets. Yeah, Maryland is full of targets. You have Fort Detrick is a target. Camp David. Uh, you know, Joint Base Andrews, Washington D.C. And then right just over the border in Virginia, you have Mount Weather, and then just over the border in PA, you have Raven Rock. So yeah, tons of targets in Maryland, unfortunately. Um, so so that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna wind it down. If you want to see my nuclear war targets, let me just show you where they are. If you want to look them up on my website, I'll just quickly show you. Okay, you go to my website. There's a link below. Uh, Let me share it. You can see. So here's my website, NYPrepper.com. And then you click on prepping references on the top here. And you're going to see a bunch of articles. And then you scroll down, and like here I have a nuclear. Somebody asked about the blast. This is very important to know. The overpressure, the PSI. and the damage zones, how far away, and what the overpressure is. But here I have best bug out locations in America, nuclear war targets in Europe. I have a map here. So for my European viewers, you definitely want to check that out. Nuclear war targets in Canada. These took a lot of time to do this. The Europe and Canada ones were very difficult. It took me like days to do these, days, weeks. I was researching all the different bases, and because I don't know anything about Europe and Canada, so it was a lot of work. So check that out, and you keep going down, and you'll see major nuclear war targets in the U.S. Okay, and I posted this. Uh, 2021 is when I posted this. Wow, 2.5 years ago. It's insane that much time passed. But there's a list state by state, all the major targets in every state. So check it out. It's all alphabetically listed. It's free. You don't have to pay anything for it. Most people would charge you, but I'm doing it for free because I think it's more important to help people get prepared than to make a few bucks. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to wind it down, and I'll be back tomorrow probably with another update or two or three, who knows. Um, so so thank you guys so much, Ross Niderman, Sammy Shazada, K Paul, all the mods, Old Spice. Good to see you, Old Spice. TW Perry, Lucy Cabrera, let's see who else here. Amy Mrachkowski. Um, so thank you guys so much for all your support, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Do something fun, do something relaxing, get your mind off of all this insanity. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'll keep doing the updates, the short video updates. I'm gonna keep doing those. So I'll probably have another one up tomorrow. So thank you guys again, and take care. God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.